and welcome back to a brand new video. Okay, I know there's a lot of videos and reaction videos on social media on the most recent Chanel price increase that took place beginning of March of 2023, so which is now. And I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. A lot of people have posted like price changes and price lists of all the items, so if you want to go check that out, you can definitely do a social media search. I'll try to put in screenshots of people's posts. Like, some people have done some beautiful comparisons and have already done the work for me, so I will insert screenshots of any information along the way, and of course you can follow those individuals. I'll put their Instagram or social media handle. I'll include that in the photo so you can get that information if you don't know already. So this is nothing new. I haven't done a price increase reaction video in a long while. I did it kind of like when the big 2020 increase hit, but aside from that, after that, touched on it maybe here and there, and then after I just kind of gave up because it just seemed like well, I know it's a never-ending thing. I've seen it from the very beginning. There have been increases all the time. And the percentage, I mean, I was really shocked in 2020, but if you look back, the percentage has been kind of the same. But because, I mean, from a ratio perspective or from a percentage perspective, when you look at the absolute values, when you're working with a larger number, of course, if you take 10%, 18% of that, it's going to be a much higher difference than when you take it of a lower number, right? So for instance, if you take 18% of 5K, that's going to be very different from 18% of 10K, right? So the difference becomes a lot larger over time. Now, and also, I mean, when they did it during the pandemic, it was a little bit tone deaf, and then we were all upset about that because we're like, oh my gosh, like, this is really insensitive, and now we're in this recession. And, you know, I live in Canada, and, you know, we've been seeing it coming, and, you know, a lot of even department stores are closing, right? I mean, we just got news that Nordstrom is closing in all of Canada, and I can do a whole other video about that. I'm very upset because I really like the Nordstrom bathrooms in the malls, but you know, that's a little bit selfish, but the thing is that a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs. And you know, people really liked working at Nordstrom. That was, you know, a great retail job. And yeah, anyway, so if we want to discuss that, we can discuss that in another video, but like, we're seeing businesses even leaving and closing up and leaving. So we're not in a good space right now. And this increase is huge, right? Like, you know, if you're looking at the prices, like some bags even went up like more than $1,000 Canadian, even $1,000 US, and it's a lot. This time around, it pretty much affected all styles, okay? Because sometimes, you know, the price increases always touch on the classics, like the classic double flap, also the boy bag as well. Sometimes they don't get hit as hard, but and then the reissue. And this time it affected pretty much all the styles. For instance, the Chanel 19, which is a great bag actually, I really love it. Can't seem to change out of it. I wear this like every day. But this also got hit quite a bit too. And I was expecting for this to increase. And the reason is because in the last couple of increases, the 19 wasn't touched. So I'm in Canada, so US pricing is different, but I mean, we're kind of just comparing, okay? So the 19 was $6,900 or $6,950 Canadian dollars before tax. And it kind of stayed that way for a bunch of increases. So when people were asking me, oh, should I buy the 19? And I'm like, you know what? There hasn't been an increase for a while. I'd get at that right now if you can. And lo and behold, now it's gone up, right? So I think, what was the price that I saw on the Canadian website? It used to be $6,900. Now it's $8,050 plus tax. So it's gone up, you know, about more than $1,000. I would say like $1,100 and add tax on top. So where I live, it's 13%. So obviously the European prices are VAT included. So it is kind of the same both ways, but we add tax on top of our price. So you're paying more. And when I look at the Jumbo Classic Flap, it's literally outpriced the MS Birkin. This is the MS Birkin in the size 30 black togo leather, gold hardware, a very classic combination. Yes, the bags will vary in price. Like Epsom is like slightly cheaper by like maybe $250. And then when you go up to Togo, Clemence, Swift, like it might change a little bit here and there, but it's nothing too drastic. Like you're already up there. I recently asked somebody who got an Hermes Birkin in size 30 Togo. I'm very happy for her because we were talking about it and she's like, I don't know if it's gonna happen. And then she sent me a photo that she got one, which is great. And the price in Canada for this particular bag is $13,700 before tax. Okay, so Hermes had a price increase this year actually, and it went up $1,000. So the current price is $13,700. Add tax, it'll come to like $15K and some odd. But the Jumbo Classic Flap actually costs more now. So what does the Jumbo Classic Flap cost? Before tax, $13,850. So $150 more than the Birkin 30 in Togo leather. And then of course add tax on top, okay? This is crazy. The small coco handle, I have the small size, not the mini size, I'm talking about the small size with like the 6 diamonds across, okay? That was the coco handle has been like Chanel's best kept secret for a while now, and the reason why they are so popular is because the price point was low in comparison to a classic, and you know, of course it's classic looking, and it's caviar, it's got a top handle, it's got a long strap, and that, somebody told me, the small is now $6,600 US, and I think it was about $1,000 less, if I'm not mistaken, in US, okay, I'm talking US. And I'll put that price comparison here, and that person confirmed what the price was, and I was like, that's crazy, okay? The Trendy CC has gone up as well. It's, gosh, what is it now? Trendy CC was $7,900, and now it's $8,700. So they've gone up quite a bit, and it's a bit shocking because, you know, the classic flap was always considered to be the most expensive handbag. I'm so happy that I bought all my classic flaps when I did, that were, you know, around the 5K mark, but even then, I mean, of course, that was considered very expensive, and I'm sure the way we're reacting to the prices presently is probably how the people who bought these bags for around $1,000 or less than $2,000 reacted when people like me bought them for 5-6K. Okay, so it's all relative. The arguments surfacing have been the same, and people have been really upset at the quality. There's been a lot of Chanel I'm Done videos, even from the very first huge price increase that we witnessed in 2020. There was actually a bigger price increase years before, but I'm just talking, I guess because 2020 was a very memorable year etched in our memories, that we really remember that, and that's kind of when I joined YouTube too, so I'm just referencing that. There's been a lot of videos of Chanel I'm Done. Now the thing is like, I've been put off by the price increases too. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm like, oh my gosh, but because I'm in my head, I'm like, well, I can't stop it, like it's going up. At this point in time, I still stand by what I said in one of my last unboxing videos. Actually, look how nice this jacket looks with this. I'll wear this in the summer. I bought this for Cruise 2023, so this is the price before the last price increase. I think it was like around 12K, okay? And this is a yellow classic flap. I was waiting for this yellow, and when it came on, I bought it. And I said in that last video that I think I've got purse piece. Like, after getting this color, I don't have any desire to add any more bags. I mean, you guys know already from like, I purchased quite a few bags in the last like 2 years, and before that I also have a pretty substantial collection. So I just got really experimental with colors and different styles as opposed to just buying classic flaps. So, you know, getting into the Trendy CC, getting the 19, getting like a little heart clutch and all that stuff, getting some of the fun stuff. but I got my classics first. And the colors, the colors don't come by as per your desire, right? It depends on what's available seasonally. So if you're looking for a purple, you might not get a purple, or a purple that you absolutely like in like 2 years. Me and my friend, we were chasing like a perfect hot magenta pink that came in for last year finally, and we were able to get our hands on it. So now that I have all my colors and the colors that I could possibly desire in a variety of different styles, I really don't have any desire or incentive to buy more handbags. However, if I was in a position where I was still dreaming about buying that first black classic flap, those people will still buy. And I think it also depends, right? Like, I mean, a lot of people are saying like, I think it really depends on the generation, and I think this is more of like a millennial thing. Chanel used to be a very mature brand, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel. When I was younger, I used to think of it as a very mature brand. Now this classic flap is yellow, but when I used to look at the black classic flap, I used to think of it as like a granny bag. I'll be completely honest with you. And it was because it didn't suit my lifestyle. I didn't see it. I mean, obviously when you're in high school and you're in university, you're not really looking to carry a bag like this because it doesn't fit anything. I wanted like a big tote bag, right? Like that, and that's kind of what the style was at the time that I was in school. But also it wasn't something that was really attractive to me until later when I wasn't in school anymore, and then these sort of smaller handbags were something that I could get use out of. So, but I think around 2012 to 2015 is when a lot of younger people, such as myself at the time, were really attracted to the brand, right? Like with the boy bag coming out and other funky styles that came out really kind of grabbed the attention of younger people. And I think now, with the way prices are going, it's going to go back to being the more mature brand. And since, the millennials are now becoming more mature, it's going to be more of a mature brand. And if you look at social media and you look at Gen Z, a lot of them are just very like dismissive of luxury brands. Like, they don't care about MS, they don't care about Dior, they don't care about Chanel, they don't care about LV, they don't, they might like Yves Saint Laurent, but even then, like, that too has now become a little bit out of reach for a lot of people. And in a time where these price increases are very aggressive because the percentage of the number that we left at is creating like a huge difference now, and we're in a recession, the price increase has always historically surpassed the rate of inflation. Cost of living crisis is out there. Groceries are expensive. You go get lettuce, it's like $12, okay? And people aren't, like, interest rates are high. People can't afford a place to live, let alone rent. So we have like a housing crisis as well. And wages haven't really gone up. So it isn't, if I was going to tell somebody, even before, buy a Chanel bag, you can save for it. And for a while now, I've been saying, no, you can't save for this. Unless you work like a pretty, like, decent job where you're earning like 80,000, 90,000, 100K a year, and you can put away $2,000 a month or $1,500 a month, then sure, you can save up for like 10 months or a year, okay? And perhaps dodge the next price increase. But if you're earning like 40, 50, 60K a year, you can't save for this. Unless you have money set aside, unless you have help, unless you don't have any other responsibilities or other expenses, you don't have any rent to pay, you don't have to buy groceries, then okay, you could, but it's really hard to save for. It's not a bag that you can save for anymore. And now Gen Z is just like, you know what, we don't care. They're embracing other brands. they're migrating towards other smaller brands, like even Polen, right? Polen has become more well known now, but they do make great styles, classic looking styles of bags that are a bit more elevated than contemporary bags. And although I have not handled one myself, I have heard reviews that their leather is really good. And people are lining up in Paris too. Like I saw videos posted online of massive queues at Polen right now as well. And they're like dismissing this whole luxury game. They're just like, you know what, we're gonna sit this one out. So, you know, they're not really that crazed to join it. Yes, there are elements of Chanel that, you know, are fun. Like, I mean, they have the cosmetics and all that, and then even small leather goods, accessories, sunglasses. Like, people will incorporate that in their own way. Even with like ready-to-wear. Ready-to-wear is expensive. It's not cheap. And that too, like, I mean, I don't know if the price increase has really affected ready-to-wear, but like, I mean, you can't really tell because season to season, I've noticed that the prices have been going up, but you can't compare because every style is going to be different, and collections sometimes are priced higher, such as like métier d'art, compared to a collection that does not have a fashion show or a runway show. So what's going to happen? I mean, with me personally, like I said, I have less and less of an interest towards the handbags right now because I have a lot of bags. I have a lot of handbags in various different styles, in all the colors that I could imagine myself wearing. I have some fun pieces, and I really don't see myself adding any more. I really want to enjoy the stuff that I have right now. And my interest is more towards some of the ready-to-wear. And if there's a wonderful accessory, like if there's like a pair of shoes that I like, then maybe I'll go for it. It really depends. Overall, more and more people are going to be comparing Chanel with Hermes. They're going to be going on about quality, and yes, I mean, there has been some dwindling quality. When I purchase things, I always look at things with a close eye. Sometimes you can miss things, but I know how to dodge the duds. And so I've been quite lucky with some of the pieces that I've had, but there are people who have received awful quality, and that's not cool. And then Chanel really doesn't do much for them. They don't really service colored bags. They'll only service like black bags, and there's just a lot that they avoid doing. They'll deem it like wear and tear and all that, and so that's really upsetting. Whereas Hermes, they do look after their quality, and if not, they'll give you a credit voucher if something doesn't perform or whatnot. People will always compare the two. And this is in terms of comparing the Hermes Birkin and other quota bags to Chanel's bags. I forgot to reiterate this key point in this video, and I've talked about this in previous videos when I talked about the Chanel price increase and quality issues in the past. A lot of people, ever since the 2020 price increase, especially on social media, were like, well, I'm just going to go to Hermes, and I'd rather spend that money on Hermes. And of course, when Chanel increased their prices, a lot of people were running to Hermes to play the Hermes game. And we all know now that it's even more competitive than ever, especially in Paris. It was always rumored that you can go and get an appointment, and if you got an appointment, you're guaranteed a handbag. I've done a video on this before if you want to check out my Paris vlogs. That, you know, it's not that straightforward these days. But the thing is this, yes, the price that I shared, the Jumbo Classic Flap in Canada, is priced higher than the Hermes Birkin in the size 30 in Togo. So yes, people will say, well, I'd rather just spend my money at Hermes and get a Birkin. But you can't do that. You can't walk over to Hermes and walk in and say you want to buy a Birkin. There's a whole pre-spend game that we're all aware of. You know, it's very rare that you can get something without buying anything. But usually there is a lot of pre-spend that goes in, and you are buying a lot of bait items before you're offered these quota bags. And even their other like non-quota bags are even hard to get now in stores, so, or even online for that matter. So you can't just, people need to realize that you can't just walk over with that money to go to Hermes. I'll do another video on this, but Chanel did try to play this game for a little bit where they were only showing classic flaps to VIPs. That didn't last very long. I kind of laughed when they made me go upstairs into a private room to look at a classic flap. I was like, really? But that obviously didn't last very long because they have classic flaps on the shelves. But anyway, if somebody was going to spend that money, then they might as well just go on the pre-love market, pay a premium, and just get the bag. But all in all, with the pre-spend and the price of these quota bags, you do end up spending a lot more for the bag if you're not considering keeping all the bait items, or if you don't see value in the bait items, but you're just spending to get the bag, then yes, the bag is going to be worth a lot more based on your spend. But I think Hermes is very different in their offering versus Chanel. Hermes has more lifestyle items, homewares, they have a lot of little knickknacks that you can get for really cheap. So there's something for everybody at like different price levels at Hermes, whereas at Chanel, there really isn't, like their entry-level items are really expensive. I mean, even costume jewelry is getting expensive. I think the costume jewelry is probably the cheapest thing you can get outside of fragrances and cosmetics. But even their costume jewelry is getting expensive. You're looking at a pair of earrings for like $1,000 now that are made of metal and maybe some, not even crystal, okay? But they're pretty, okay? The styles are obviously different. I mean, I think when it comes to handbags and accessories, Chanel is very fun. You're gonna get a lot of, cute, like little heart bags and stuff like that, little miniature, and I know those are all just kind of like pieces that, it's kind of like a joke now, right? Because they'll put, now you can get little clutches, little wallets, like card holders, they'll put a little top handle and a chain on it. That's now considered a bag. And you're being charged like $4,000 for it, which is crazy. So that's their entry level. Wallet on chain is nearly $4,000 now, right? So, but at Hermes, you can at least get a lot of other items, and have that be part of the brand. You can add some parts of the house to your life and get something. So people always compare them. The aesthetic is obviously different. In terms of resale market, some people were getting really excited. Oh, my classic flap is now worth this much now. And obviously we know if you go buy a bag in store and let's say you want to immediately flip it, unless this is some unicorn color that's not going to be available, or it's some very desirable shape, heart bag, etc., then okay, sure. But they're always releasing unicorn colors. Before baby pinks, people used to be going crazy for them. Now there's a pink, literally in every collection there's a pink, and they do well, okay? But I mean, it's not the race for getting that pink anymore, because you can just wait for the next collection. There will be a newer and better pink. Metallic handbags, gold handbags, they're being released all the time. Iridescent handbags are being released all the time. So, there's no race anymore. And also, if you think about it, the higher the price is in the retail space, obviously when the resale market's going to also increase their prices as well, but who's going to be buying them at that price point? At some point people will not buy, and what is concerning is the replica market is probably going to take off. There's a lot of really good fakes. Fakes aren't the same as before. There's, before we used to always think of fakes as being really awful, and yes, they were, but now it's kind of scary how, on the dot, they are. Some of them are even, there's high quality fakes, even for the MS Birkin. Now, they're being exposed. There's the Birkin Slayer or something like that, who's been exposing celebrities for having, or influencers for having fake MS Birkins and Kellys and all that, and calling them out. But I really think that the replica market's going to take off, because obviously if you're going to get a replica, it's going to be cheaper than the resale market for authentic handbags. So the people that really want the look might just opt to get a replica instead of spending an arm and leg for a used handbag, because if you're already there, why not just add a little bit more money and get a brand new one? So it's just not going to change. It is upsetting because a lot of people are always angry whenever there's a price increase, but then things kind of return back to normal. The European prices are high. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen for US shoppers. I mean, for us, it's always been kind of the same price, but a lot of US shoppers went crazy this past summer because the US dollar was nearly par with the euro. So they were obviously going to have a huge saving even if they had to pay taxes when they come back. If the euro and the American dollar are still on par, then perhaps people will still flock to Europe to purchase their items. But again, the price is high, right? Like, it still is high. So I'd be surprised to see what happens in Paris, because it's crazy. Like, the lineups are crazy from what I've heard. I mean, it was crazy when I went in November last, 2021 I went? Yeah. There were lineups which were very different from when I used to visit before the pandemic. Like, I was there like every year, and you can walk into any boutique, no problem. And like, now there's a queue, and it was even crazier in the summer from what some of you have been telling me and what I've been seeing online. So I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, that's kind of what my thoughts are running in my head. Let me know, did you catch anything before the increase? Like, some people did go running, but I feel like it's kind of pointless to like warn people of price increases anymore. Like, I got like a message from the boutique saying, oh, I'm sure you've heard there's a price increase. Is there anything that you have in mind? And I'm like, I really don't. There's really nothing that I have in mind that I want to add to my collection. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the new collections in terms of like shoes and some ready to wear, because I did like some of the stuff on the runway, but I'd have to see what items those are. So yeah, nothing for me, but I'm not going to dismiss the desire that people have, right? Like, I can say this because I have my collection, I have my handbag, so I can say that. But if I was in the position where I still had that black classic flap on my wish list, I probably would still want to buy it. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. Let me know any thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and let me know of any different price increases that I might have missed for certain styles. I'd like to know what has happened in your country, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.